The following is a product of Studio 42.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is football time in Texas.
From Studio 42 on HoweEnterprise.com, this is Howe Bulldogs football.
Studio 42 presents a very special event in which we've assembled the greatest quarterbacks in Bulldogs history for a lively and entertaining discussion. Sit back and enjoy the tales of three of the most notable names in Bulldog history: Jay Skipworth, Chase Fountaine, and Austin Haley. Let's get things started.
First up is Jay Skipworth. He was the all-time leading passer from 1989 to 2010 with 3,060 yards. 39 touchdowns, was the all-time leader until just a few weeks ago. Jay Skipworth. Up next is Chase Fountaine. He was the all-time leading passer, breaking Jay Skipworth's record in 2010 with 3,749 career yards. His 36 touchdowns were a second all-time from 2008 to 2010. Finally, Austin Haley, your all-time leading quarterback passer in Howe, Texas, 5,480 yards with 2 regular season games left. 49 touchdowns, also is the all-time leading passer for Howe. Yeah. Are you nervous at all? I mean, you're sitting with some guys that you've taken their names off the record book. Are you nervous a little bit?
I mean, I'm not nervous. I think it's awesome that I've heard about them, all the time, and people be talking to me about records and all this. But I think it's awesome because they were doing the same thing I was, just back in the day, and so I just think it's an awesome experience what we got going on here. So
it's a leadership position, the quarterback. Jay, talk about that a little bit. The leadership position. It's been a while since we were on this field, but the quarterback is a special position, and you were the first really here, other than Rick Haining, you were the first to really sling it around on this field. Talk about the leadership position.
Well, yeah, I know it's a leadership position, but I had a lot of great teammates that made that easy for me, and I just tried to get out and do what we did. We were always well prepared with Coach Fryer starting a new offense, and we worked on it day in, day out, and had a great group of guys around me, and it was just, don't know that I led anybody.
Well, Chase, how about you?
I think the biggest thing is kind of thinking about this when you're a quarterback, whether you're winning or losing, they got to know that you are going to kind of take over the game, and that you're not, it's whether you're down 14 or up 14, you're going to do whatever it takes to win the game. So they got to see that in your eyes when you're in the huddle. And so I think that's kind of big. Offensive linemen, wide receivers, running backs, that they always see that. So
you were the most recent passing yards leader. I remember we kind of went through this when you passed Jay, and we kind of, they had the picture made and all that kind of stuff. And but Austin kept putting these numbers up. Were you in tune with what was going on and with him the last couple of years? Did you hear about him, watch him, or anything?
Yeah. So I saw Austin play his freshman year, and I was keeping up. I've been keeping up this year. And the biggest thing, we're talking about records. I think records are always kind of meant to be broken. Mm-hmm. It's something you want to chase, and I think that's what's cool. It gives somebody else, something to work towards. And, I've definitely been keeping up.
So, Jay, you had the passing touchdown record up until just a few weeks ago when Austin did that. For about 20 years you had that, and you probably never even knew you held a bunch of records back during those times.
No.
When you went through this, Chase was coming up, and he put up big yards, and it was known at that time when he finally passed you, but every time Austin did something, your name gets mentioned, and it's still brought up all the time. The past few years, it's been Jay Skipworth and Chase Fountaine, and how does that make you feel? Did your name's always brought up like that?
Well, that's pretty cool. It's a nice honor. I wasn't aware of that, but back in our days, we didn't know what records were or anything like that. We just knew if we won or lost the game, get on with it. But in today's age, with the technology and all that, it's awesome. And I didn't realize that everything that was going on. I knew about this kid in Howe that was a good quarterback. Seen him a couple of times. Just minding my own business a couple of Fridays ago and get a call from Robbie Seagroves out of the press box. And I was like, what, he broke another one? Yeah. So it is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Austin, these two guys were on big-time winning teams. Jay went to the 3 rounds deep in the playoffs his senior year. Chase, you got a first-round bye, which we'll maybe talk about later, and on the area round. Quite a few gold footballs. You've not been as fortunate so far, perhaps yet.
Yes.
How important is it for you to grab one of those or 2 gold footballs?
This year's our year, and we've been working to it because we've been young, ever since I came in here, and we only won 3 games from my freshman to junior year, but it was all a learning experience, and with the new coaches and just everybody buying in, we're gonna go win a ball, and I think it's an awesome experience because like last year in basketball, we went and we won by district, and I think then we went to playoffs in baseball, and now it's just kind of carrying over to football. Yes, it is for sure. It's like a culture change around here, the coaches are amazing. Coach Brian, he's turning around. So we're gonna win one for sure and go win this Friday. So
For sure.
And you talk about the culture change, and it seems like everything changed with the Haley nailed it at the buzzer. That night, it seemed that night you went on a roll, in basketball, and you just started winning like 8 straight. Do you think that changed everything for this group?
I think it was just a compile of things. I think that game in general changed a lot of things because it showed. We did not play good that game, and that was a game to basically seal us in the playoffs and knock Gunner off the playoffs. And who doesn't want to knock Gunner out the playoffs? So, but it was like 28-28 at the end of the fourth quarter, low scoring. We weren't playing very good, turning the ball over. But I think it was just knowing that like we were going to win the game at all times, and no matter what, we were going to do what we had to do, and we it ended up falling into my hands, which happens like that sometimes. But it was just like the team just came together, through all the adversity, and that's really what's been happening all year. No matter like the injuries, like with football, people are stepping up. Like we have 5 sophomores or 6 sophomores playing on defense right now, and they're all stepping up, making big plays. We have a sophomore leading the team in tackles. It's been awesome. So
Chase, you were kind of in a similar situation as Austin. You had 2 different head coaches. Talk about the differences between the 2 that you had.
I would say that, Coach Crane was definitely a player's coach. And I think the biggest thing is our summer workouts. We took those seriously. We didn't start a summer workout until every player was there. And that kind of changed the mentality and the culture for us. And, and then, just the offensive scheme kind of opened up. We went to a spread. And I think the biggest thing is I went from gunslinging to actually reading defenses and, actually looking at coverages. And I think that was the biggest thing for me that, helped me out from that transition from junior to senior year.
And you were slinging it around still your senior year a little bit, but I think you had some help on the ground.
Oh, yeah, and that was the thing is we had such a balanced attack. We had, Tanner Bailey at running back. We had Tim Butler. He would come in from wide receiver. He'd play a little bit running back. We had some athletes. They made my job pretty easy. So, we had athletes all over the field and, had a good offensive line. And got to give credit to Coach Dennis, too, our offensive coordinator. So, it was a fun year. We had to do a lot of stuff.
So, Jay, we initially called it the slots offense. When it first came out, we were calling it slots. That's what Coach Fryer called it. But the newspaper called it the running shoot, I guess because the University of Houston was doing that. Today it's called the spread. You were one of the first full-time spread offensive quarterbacks in the history of Texas high school football. Do you ever think about that and the magnitude of that?
Well, I didn't really realize that, but I knew that we were new. It was a new offense. It was new. Nobody was doing it. Coach Fryer kind of brought it in one day and says, hey, I think we'll try this. And we did. And it worked perfect for us because we had several talented wide receivers, slot backs, as you would call them, what you were, and good offensive line. And then we also had a great running back so we could mix it up. It wasn't just all pass. Clint Bray came in and had over 1,000 yards. And like Chase said, we were balanced. But, no, it's pretty cool. I think about that every now and then because every team right now runs a spread.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little different, you know, but it was unique at the time.
And what's unique about it, I think, back then we went to that, I believe, because we had a great quarterback and great receivers, not necessarily to run the football. And it just happenstance we figured out because nobody was doing this. And when you spread the ball out or spread the receivers out and you spread everybody out,
It
all of a
creates
sudden,
angles.
yeah, it created a situation where you could run the football. It took about 3 weeks before we figured that out, and we're like, holy crap, Clint Bray can run the football.
Yes. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So, Chase, like Skipworth had Hawthorne. He's got his receiver, and you had Torres. Talk about Alex and what kind of teammate and receiver he was for you.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying, he made my job pretty easy. I mean, he was a great athlete. I think Sam Houston State was looking at him. That kind of tells you what kind of athlete he was.
Wow.
But, I mean, kind of going back to what I said, him and I, we were basically best friends. We every day we were up here in the summer and the spring we were throwing, so we had that timing. We had that connection. I remember when we're playing Honey Grove, they're playing cover 2, and they're covering all our corner routes. And we had like about a 4th and 13, and I knew that they were sitting on it. And I told Alex in the huddle, I said, run the in route, fake the corner and run the in. And I put it on when we got that first down. We didn't end up winning that game, but that just, gave me that memory of the kind of, what we worked on in the summer. And it wasn't just with Alex. I mean, all those guys were coming out in the summer and, we're throwing the ball around 7-on-7 and everything. So that's what really helped us is all that work we did before the season started. But
So, Jay, you had 2 dynamic receivers, too. Your best friend, David Canaday, on one side, and then you got Hawthorne on the other, who's a great friend of yours, too. And, receivers tend to be prima donnas at times, and they want the football all the time. I think Hawthorne was one of those.
Yes, he always wanted it. and it was easy. I could throw it, and he usually went and got it. Unless I threw it to the other guy, which sometimes I did.
Yeah. I remember a game over in Salina where you got knocked a little bit silly.
Yeah.
And I think I brought the play in. And
I snuck in the offense because they pulled me out of the game.
Well, you didn't know where you were. And so anyway, I brought the play into you, and it's something we did every day. And when I told you the play, you went, what do I do? And Hawthorne said,
throw it to me. Yeah. And I did, and he stood there, or I threw it to the other guy, whatever. Yeah, I was knocked a little silly that game. That's awesome.
Austin, you've had some great receivers too. Cooper Jones, has been your go-to guy here lately. Talk about him.
He's awesome. He's just like been overpowering. He's 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds, and just can. You can throw it up to him, really. It's just like these guys that he's had. We also have, a lot of great guys, young guys like, Braden and Murphy who are coming up in the slot. And then Huff also, which, of course, he's out with a concussion this week, which sucks. But we have another sophomore stepping in, Tristan, who's going to be great. And then, I've had some great receivers in the past. Like my freshman year, Wyndon, that was my go-to guy. I would always sit on fade routes. And then, they're great athletes. So Cooper's something special, though, that's for sure. He's.
How old were you when you realized that you could be a really good quarterback?
Honestly, I never really thought of it like that. I just was like, I like to play football, so I just kept on playing, and I guess it's kind of fell into, I guess I'm all right. I just like to go play the game and have fun and win. So it's finally paying off, so it's basically.
I remember when you were in 6th grade, I told a lot of people that, hey, there's a kid coming through the system. How doesn't get kids like this, but every 15, 20, 25 years or so. And I was wrong. It's about 85 years with the stats and everything. But Chase, same question. When did you think you had the chance to be a really good quarterback?
I mean, Austin had such a good answer. He had the team answer. I mean, it's true. I mean, it was for the. I mean, it's for the love of the game. You never really. I mean, you got to stay humble But I mean, I guess middle school, you had coaches that would tell you like, you're gonna end up being good one day, and I mean, when I was in middle school, the varsity wasn't too good, and I remember some of those varsity players talking to me like, and that was pretty cool. But I would say like 7th, 8th grade, that's
So-
kind of when I.
You can look on YouTube and you can find some Pee Wee games where Jay Skipworth's slinging it around out there.
Really?
When did you know?
Well, I never knew, and I never, like Austin, I never really thought about being a good quarterback. I mean, I just like to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, really football wasn't my thing. I didn't want to get hit. I didn't want to hit anybody, but I did like throwing the ball. And I found that out in Pee Wee. And, of course, I had a guy named Stephen Hawthorne that liked to run down the field and catch it and made it easy on me. So,
Chase, you were who was the quarterback that you grew up watching and wanted to be like?
Oh, I'd have to go with Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He was, that was the thing when I was growing up, they always talked about the 6'5",
Right.
quarterback, and he was the 6 foot, 5'11", and I'm like, that's,
gave you hope.
exactly. He was back there slinging around, for the Chargers and then the Saints, and he's definitely the one that, I grew up watching. But
Jay?
Well, back in my day, I liked John Elway and Marino for passing styles, and then for some reason I liked Jim McMahon for his attitude. Might have taken it too far.
Y'all did have the headband,
Yeah,
the
I'm saying.
sweatbands around the neck and all that.
Yeah, we had a little goofiness going. But
That's awesome.
What about
hey,
you?
it's camaraderie.
Yeah. Austin?
That's awesome. Honestly, when I was younger, I never really watched football. I mean, I watched the Cowboys, Tony Romo play every now and then, but I've always been a baseball kid. Like that's kind of been my thing, and that's why I never really thought about just being a quarterback because I've always been playing baseball. But I knew I like to throw the ball around,
That's
so
right,
it just ended up happening
Well,
like
you,
that. So.
you got a little Romo in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen you bounce out of the pocket a little bit and throw it down the field. This is for any of you. When you look back at your time with the Howe Bulldogs, what do you remember most? Is it Friday nights? Is it the team? Is it the bus rides? What is it? Anybody?
Well, yes, Friday nights were always awesome, but also remember the sweat and the tears and the pain, and the work ethic, and a lot of guys getting together. Yeah, Friday nights were always special, but of course, as you is, the only thing you're going to remember, the main thing you remember as I did is team meetings. That was a special thing that I'm not sure anybody
I don't think
else
they get
did.
that anymore.
No,
I'm pretty sure they don't.
No, we
but
don't do that.
We had those. I always remember those. And just, goofing off in the locker room,
Yep.
those kind of things.
Game face.
Yeah, we had some fun.
yeah, kind of going off what Jay said. Obviously, the Friday nights, playing here underneath the lights. That's why we're here. You love playing the game, but it's like Jay was saying. The memories you make in the locker rooms, goofing off, 2-a-days, and then in between practice, goofing off. And, but definitely the biggest memory was our senior year when we started to pile up the wins. The wins in the district championship, going to playoffs. That meant way more to me than any of the records or
Oh, yeah,
the
for
single stats, because when I come back home and I see my buddies, we always talk about beating Pottsboro, and I could care less about the the single person stats,
Sure.
So
Sure.
Well, talk a little bit about that. Your senior season, y'all had a great year, and you didn't get to play in a by-district game because you got a first-round bye, and I think that might have hurt you a little bit.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, we had never experienced playoffs, and like you're saying, we won district, and I think that was one of the first years when you won district, you got that by-district bye, and so we ended up playing New Boston that second round, and they went to the semis and played Dangerfield, and so with injuries in that game, and it would have been nice to have that first game. That way we could have kind of warmed up into that New Boston game because they were a good team. They were fast. And so, like I was saying, I think there's a lot of emotions that game, and, there's injuries. And it's tough when you're a 2A school. You don't really have the depth.
Right.
But
Jay,
yeah.
you're the only quarterback who's played a playoff game on this field. What was that like?
Oh, that was pretty cool. And it was unheard of back then.
Yeah.
our thing was in the past, we wanted to go down to Plano and play on the concrete turf, and it's not like it is today, but as you remember.
Yeah.
But our coaches, I guess, had something different in mind. So I guess they made a flip. We were going to play home. They painted the field. We'd never seen that, and that aspect. Bleachers in the end zones. I mean, it was pretty cool.
It was weird to play a playoff game here.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a playoff game, but we knew we had to win it.
Yeah.
So we could keep going.
Yeah, and you play Roy City, who's now got the huge stadium.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, that what happened there was the coaches kind of got in an argument, the head coaches, and Roy City wanted to play in Garland, and they were adamant about it, and they would not come off of that. And Coach Fryer, they did not want to play in Garland because they hadn't had very much success there. So with stubbornness, they decided, hey, we'll flip for home if you're not going to back off of Garland, and got in
awesome.
Won the toss
That's
and
awesome.
played here.
We had to win so we could go play on turf the next week.
Yeah, in the cold, windy Wichita Falls. How do you that stadium? It's always blowing 40 miles an hour. And that's one of those where you had to really work one way and got to sling it the other way. Talk about that game.
Well, that was crazy because you and I both were punters, and pregame was weird. One way we're punting at 80 yards, the next one it's going backwards. So it was pretty windy.
Jay, your dad was a huge influence on you and your sports, and he spent many hours even on this field as a coach. Talk about his importance and the influence on you.
He was a great influence on me. I mean, he was a great athlete in Sherman and Austin College in basketball and baseball. He never played football. So I was playing football, but he was just a positive influence, always encouraged me and stayed positive and always there.
Was he worried when you played football about injuries?
Oh, yeah, we saw that.
I think he jumped over the fence maybe in Salina.
Yeah, when I woke up, he was on top. He was there, so he must have gotten down pretty quick.
Chase, you and Austin, your dads are heavily influenced with y'all as well. Talk about your dad, Chase.
Yeah, so, I mean, he was my Pee Wee coach. I mean, he coached me throughout, baseball, football, and then even in high school was our 7-on-7 coach. And, yeah, obviously, like Jay was saying, had a huge impact on my life and, my love for sports. And I think the biggest thing is he just always, kept me level-headed, stay humble no matter how good, how bad, just play for the love of the game. So,
Austin?
Yeah, no, my dad, he's always been there for me. He, coached me when I was a little kid in baseball, and up until I was about 10, then he was like, I don't need to be in the dugout with you and yelling at you and stuff, which was a good thing in my opinion. But no,
I'm with you.
Yeah, he's just always been there for me. He's taught me how to be a good young man, and he's kept me level and not let my head get too big. That's for sure. So he'll knock me if I do, but no, yeah, he's awesome. He's a great dad for sure. So
Chase, talk about your first start. Do you remember that first start as a varsity quarterback?
I do. We played Gunner. We played Gunner my sophomore year. That was our first district game, and they made a quarterback change, and that was my first start. And kind of like I was talking about earlier, they had a middle linebacker. His name was Bear, and he was about 6'3", 240. And I remember I took my first snap, and that dude just came through the B gap and just crushed me. And I was like,
welcome to varsity.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, welcome to varsity. So that was a good taste of varsity, and I was like, all right, this is a lot faster than JV, a lot bigger too. So that Gunner team ended up, I think, went semis that year too. So they were loaded that year.
Jay, you were a freshman. I don't know how much quarterback you played your freshman year, but I know you came up early. Talk about that.
Yeah, came up late in the year, injury. Somebody went down the secondary, and so they put me in there for defense. And I got to play a little quarterback. I don't remember my first quarterback start, but I do remember my first touchdown pass. Brian Ross, 38 yards, right over here on a little throwback.
On the north end zone.
For some reason, I remember that. Yeah. Can't remember what I did yesterday.
That's awesome.
Austin, talk about your first start.
Yeah, mine was freshman year against Ponder, and before the game, I was just this little kid, and then we were listening to some song. Like, we were all quiet. Like, Coach made us be, like, completely quiet. And then there's, like, some, like, beat drop, and everyone went crazy. And it just, like, gave me goosebumps. And then we went out there. I think we ended up losing that game, like, 35-21. But, I mean, we played a good game. I think, who was my first touchdown pass? To Caden, right?
I don't remember. I know your first pass completion was to Arturo.
To Arturo. I'm pretty sure I threw a jailbreak, a screen over to Caden Harmon, and he ran in for a touchdown. But yeah, it was good. It was good. So
let's see. So all of you have played on grass fields here, the grass field here at Bulldog Stadium. It's not that anymore. Talk about the difference in what you see now compared to what it was back then, Jay.
Well, it's a little nostalgic, the grass for me. I always liked it better, but this is beautiful. I mean, it changes the game, so it makes everything different seem just a lot nicer and cleaner. You can see things, and you just don't have, the natural things to worry about. We had mud every now and then. We don't have mud anymore, so it kind of takes that element out. But everything just looks nicer and cleaner, and it's a very nice field.
Chase, do you get kind of does it bring back emotions or anything when you walk out here? I know it looks different, but does it hit you a little bit?
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
It's a very nice facility.
It's beautiful. That's what I was telling Monty when I walked up. I mean, there's some things that are the same, but they've updated a lot of things here, and with the new surface. I mean, it's awesome. I would have loved to play on this, and kind of like Jay was saying, my junior year, I think it rained it was like a monsoon every week, and playing on this surface would have helped.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah.
Austin, you're the only one at the table that played on both. Talk about the differences here.
I think the only thing I missed was standing on that sideline and not being able to see this sideline. This turf field's awesome. We got it for my junior year, and it's really been a game changer. Honestly, it keeps the ball dry no matter really what, unless it's just pouring down rain. But because grass just holds water sometimes. But now it's just turf, and also I think helps with injuries and stuff too. I think that's also a big part. So
now, we talked a little bit earlier about being a freshman on varsity and stuff, but and playing. But we didn't talk about being on a varsity team with grown men. What is it like for a 14-year? And you're young. I mean, you had the young birthday, 14-year-old kid in the locker room with those guys. What was that like?
Well, it was different, of course. I knew who they were, but it was because I was looking up to them all the time. They've been on varsity for a while, watch them on Friday nights and look up to them, practice against them, and then going in the locker room with them was very intimidating. There happened to be one locker left between the meanest and the biggest player on the team, and there I was. So I had to grow up fast.
What about you, Austin? You were in the same situation.
Yeah, I was. When I got the starting job, it was in 7-on-7 during the summer, and I remember I was playing on JV on the 7-on-7. It was varsity on this side, JV on this side, and then our offensive coordinator, Nate Lynch, he called me over and was like, hey, come play some varsity snaps over here. And then I went, and they were all, just kind of took me under their wing, and I, threw some touchdowns. And I remember asking me, he was like, can you take a hit? I was like, yes, sir. And he said, all right, well, you're the starter. And then it just, ever since then, all those guys, I was sitting up there with my little 6th grade jersey on Friday nights watching them play, and then I was, playing with them now. So it was pretty awesome. So,
at some point, Austin, some kid 20 years from now, 15 years from now is going to come through here, and they're going to break every record you own.
Yes.
Jay's been through it. Chase has been through it now. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome. I mean, Chase said earlier, records are meant to be broke. And, I was fortunate enough to be able to play 4 years, so it kind of let me, get some more time to, do whatever I did. And, but I think, records are supposed to be broken. There's some good kids now because everything's spread. And so I think it's going to be, everyone's going to be throwing the ball around, and that's just the new news. So, it's awesome.
So you have your final home game ever on this field tomorrow.
Sure.
So, Jay, Chase, y'all have any words for him to soak it up maybe?
Just take it all in. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you go from, playing every game with your boys every week to, it just stops. And so you just soak in all the memories, get that W. I mean, that's what you're going to remember is all the wins. It was like Jay was saying, you're not going to come back. You're going to come back and talk about the wins you had and, going to playoffs and just soak it all in, play your heart out, and just do what you do.
Yeah, the same. Good luck for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It'll be your last game here, but not your last game.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
for sure.
Hopefully you can make a run, get 2 or 3 extras, or
Yes,
however many you can.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow we'll seal us another game, so as long as we win, which we should. So
I'm going to talk to the team tomorrow before the game, and that Bulldog that's lifting the weights in there in that room that's painted on the wall. We've all been in that room. Everybody at this table has been in that room to see that Bulldog, and that Bulldog has looked us all in the eye in our final game. And then, we have to look back in the eye of that thing, and you're going to miss that. You're going to miss that part of it, and maybe that will come out tomorrow when we talk to the team a little bit. Yes. But yeah, soak it up. You don't get it every day. Every Friday night. You don't get that feeling, that emotion and antsiness and adrenaline. You don't get it every Friday, but you get it. You get it. You just don't get it every Friday.
Yes.
So.
Monty, does it make you nervous going to talk to all of us at the pep rally? Does it
well, tomorrow's not going to be the pep rally. Right?
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe it's a surprise. Maybe
okay, because I had to talk at a pep rally this year, and that was more nerve-wracking than playing the game.
Exactly.
Did y'all have pep rallies and stuff back in?
We did.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't think anybody was. We weren't allowed to talk or anything during our pep rally. Everything was so serious.
We weren't allowed to talk at all from the time we entered the pep rally to the time we left.
Yeah.
We weren't.
We weren't allowed to have any fun.
Wow.
No.
It was all business.
We did. But we weren't allowed to.
That's what I was going to say. I think we had too much fun. They didn't want us to get up there and talk. We would act a fool at the pep rally, start dancing and everything.
Yeah, I think what I've heard too, I haven't been to a pep rally lately, but I've heard it's pretty different than ours.
Yeah, it's a lot different than what ours were.
They'd be having us play games and
Games,
stuff.
40 minutes, skits.
Yes,
Yeah.
and And we're doing the games. One kid had to drink a whole root beer float before and during the thing. And I don't think
Fryer would allow that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No.
I was questioning it also. Because I remember we had a middle school pep rally one time, and the cheerleaders, part of the skit was they threw a pie in your face. Well, as soon as that happened, I don't know what was in that pie, but I got sick immediately after that pie throw, and I couldn't play against White Rock.
Oh, no.
And when I saw Ryan Huff do that, I was like, no, you can't do that.
I know.
You're going to miss the game.
I was like, golly, but it's crazy now.
So thoughts, guys? You got any questions for each other? Or?
No, just good luck tomorrow and the rest of the season for sure. And then, of course, good luck the rest of the year because I know you play basketball and baseball too. So good luck in all those.
Yeah, did y'all play multiple sports in high school?
Yes. I played them all.
Played them all? Yeah, did y'all?
See, Jay was a freshman basketball starter, freshman baseball starter. Y'all have a lot in common. I don't remember.
I played basketball and baseball, but I had a knee injury my freshman year, and then I had 2 knee surgeries in the spring of my sophomore.
Getting ready for football.
Exactly, and so it just put me out. And then my senior year, I was like, I want to play baseball again, so I ended up playing my senior year. But,
Yeah, Jay, y'all two, very similar. Varsity's in all 3 major sports as freshmen. So, we didn't have the experience maybe that they've had. Ours was a little different.
A little different.
We had the talent. We had plenty of talent, just couldn't pull it all together.
Yeah.
Well,
not sure what it was.
Yeah, well, we have our coach is Forsyth. He's amazing. So it's been awesome for sure. So
that's good.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. That's for sure. So, but
well, let me say this, guys. Football is special, and I know the other sports are too. And I'm a fan of all of them, but I know this Friday night thing is really special. It's different. Due to the camaraderie of the team. You know, the team is always bonded together forever. You know, you talk about coming back and you talk to your boys and you talk about things like that. And, you know, the football program is also a bond, and it can be. And I think it's awesome tonight to have you guys here meeting with Austin, because it's kind of it's a legacy type situation with the quarterbacks for the Howe Bulldogs. You're three, you know it or not, you just met tonight, but you three are connected forever in the history books, you know, for this all-time stuff. And you've won a lot of games, and you've all worn the black and white. As a matter of fact, it's 7, 8, and 9 for jersey numbers. Oh, wow. So that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
So
you did that on purpose. You said us like that, right?
Yeah, I didn't, but you know, maybe some last final advice as he finishes out his career for this fraternity that dates back to 1935. Chase, we'll start with you.
So, ask that again. Sorry.
Just maybe some advice for Austin as he finishes out. I know we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but maybe one final time, some advice for him as he finishes out his career in this fraternity here.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you're saying, there's a lot of history here, and to your point, my grandpa played on this field in the 40s, so that's, you know, it's a pretty cool thing. And
that is cool.
But going back to, you know, what we talked about earlier, just soak it all in, and don't take any game for granted. I think there's times when I wasn't completely focused in some games, and you know, you could see it. And so just, you know, stay focused every game. I mean, every game here on out matters. So
Sure.
So, and good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, the same. Stay focused. Keep doing what you're doing. Apparently, it's working. You know, stay strong for your teammates.
Sir.
Be a great leader as you are, and good luck. And play till November. Maybe play to Thanksgiving.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
I want to come home Thanksgiving and watch y'all. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That was always the goal. You know, you want
practice on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We were fortunate enough to do that.
Yeah.
It's when your whole family's home, and you know.
You eat turkey dinner and go practice.
And we practiced here when the grass was
dormant.
Yeah.
It was yellow.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
Hey, I've enjoyed this. I think this is pretty cool. I think this is an awesome moment for everybody here at the table, and there's a lot of people who have lived through you guys over a long period of time as Howe Bulldog fans and kids and great friends of yours, and I appreciate you doing this. You all have each other's cell phone now.
Yes.
You might, are y'all going to converse? Is this something that y'all, a relationship now that maybe y'all have made that'll continue on?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Jay in
it's been
10 years. I mean, you had that picture of us at Number One Fitness. That was pretty cool.
We're going to get some pictures of y'all tonight together.
Sweet.
I've already had some alumni and a former coach asking about you at Austin College. So.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And I didn't know the answer. I don't know if you're wanting to play football in college or not. But
okay. Yeah,
there's people out there that want you.
You're on the spot.
Awesome. I am. It's complicated. I want to play baseball no matter what, but football's still like an option, I guess. I'm keeping it open. So.
You could play both.
I do know, and that's been an option that I've been considering. But It's
hard.
It's hard. Yeah. It's already hard on my body. So I'm just trying to figure out what's best for me. So.
For sure. It's a hard decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work too to play. But
both.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yes, for sure.
This quarterback position, you have to be a pretty tough kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You get hit a lot,
especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you got hit pretty good too.
Well, yeah, I guess, but not like these guys do. I mean, I couldn't run the ball for nothing, but these guys are. Nice to run the ball.
I think I had negative rushing yards.
Yeah. I think I had one quarterback sneak, and it was off of a fumbled snap. That's my only positive yards. We had some reads and stuff, but it would have been really fun back then to have at the disposal what these guys have now of knowing what's going to happen before it happens. We were out there playing sandlot. We worked on plays. We had design plays, but we actually drew up a play in the dirt one night and got a touchdown off of it.
35 slide throwback.
Yeah, something crazy. We just made it up right then and did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and that's another thing. There's so much film now too.
right.
Huddle.
And you can study. We didn't study film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how much film did you watch?
Yeah, so going into my senior year, or basically after my junior year, they had cut some CDs, and basically I'd watch film of what I did the previous year, and then had some film of the teams we were going to play my senior year. But kind of like we were talking about earlier is, they kind of told me to stop watching too much film because you didn't want to start overthinking everything. It was just go out there and play the game, do what you do.
You were right in the middle of this technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I would try to go to the film room after practice, and like I was saying, they'd tell me to get out because it's just like, you don't want to overthink too much. You just want to go out there and,
But you want to be prepared.
Exactly. You want to have some kind of preparation and, and like Jay was saying, I mean, the first 3 years that I played, I was just out there gunslinging. I think my junior year I had 18 interceptions, and then my senior year we cut that down to like 6 or 8. I mean, that changes the whole flow of the game, and that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, wow, that was bigger than the touchdowns. I'm like, now we're actually controlling the game, running the clock. And,
and that's talked about every Sunday, Saturday on TV now. Like, you don't even have to have played football, and these people, you know everything about the game now with technology and broadcasting, and back then it was like we knew what we knew on Friday nights. A little bit of what our coaches were telling us in between.
We were hoping to do well enough on Friday night to get screamed at Saturday morning.
Yeah. And kind of, just going back to kind of what we were talking about, I think the thing that Jay was saying, like, we were kind of gunslinging back then, and then my senior year was like, no, you're actually going to read the defense. And my coach, before I got out of the huddle, I did point to the safeties and say single high or two high. If there's 2 safeties, and then I would have to basically, I mean, most high school teams are probably just running cover 2 or man. They're not going
too much.
Yeah, they're not going to go to cover 4, cover 6. Can't. It's a little too much, but
Austin, you're a film junkie.
I am a film junkie. I love watching film. I just sit there and watch it all day, pretty much at school. When I don't have work, of course. But it's completely different. I mean, because I know when I was probably my freshman, sophomore year, I was just going out there. Hey, you're gonna throw it to this dude, and and I did, and I mean it worked sometimes, but of course,
it's easier when you know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. And like especially my junior year, I really made a jump, and it was like learning, like 3-4, and we run our offense. I mean, half our plays are run RPOs. Like I'm reading an end and a backer, and it's awesome stuff, really. And now, nowadays a lot of people really run the same stuff: 3-4, cover 4, and they roll to cover 3, and so there's just a lot that goes into it. And our offensive coordinator Cater, he's smart too. He knows what he's talking about, and he's taught me like all these concepts, which is rhythm, read, rush. And so just on like my drop and stuff on my 3-step, it's my rhythm route, my read route, which is my hitch up route, and then my rush, which is if that's not there, then I take my rush route, and it's pretty cool stuff, I'd say so.
So on the RPO, is that truly fluid? I mean, are you gonna hand it? Do you know you're gonna hand it to Antoine, or do you not know?
It's. I mean, every play is an RPO in our offense. It's we call like zone right, and it's like we'll have hitches on the backside, and I'm reading the end. If he comes down with the because we leave him on blocks, so we can block 5-on-4 and go up to safety. If he comes down, I'm keeping the ball and going. If the backer steps up, then I throw the hitch right behind him, and it opens up a ton of stuff. That's why we've been so successful this year. I mean, we were averaging before last. We were averaging like 40 points a game and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
But and I know nowadays, like, because when I was like on my freshman year, sophomore year, I would look up on YouTube how to read a defense, and they had like how to read cover 4. There's just tons of videos out there that you can learn.
We didn't have any of that.
No. Yeah, I know. It's good stuff for sure. So it helps when you have a good coach, though, because he's.
And that's another thing. The coaching staffs have changed over the years too. You two have had offensive designated offensive coordinators for what you're doing. you had a head coach that basically just did everything.
Right.
And so it's a lot different. And I think we had 6 coaches maybe on the staff, if that. I don't know.
Yeah, on the whole staff, probably.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really changed. All of y'all have had Coach Simmons.
Yes.
Let's talk about Coach Simmons a little bit. Let's have Coach Simmons talk.
I mean,
Who wants to start?
Yeah,
Jay
Coach Simmons
does.
was awesome.
Yeah.
He's just a great motivator, great man. It's awesome to see what he's done, because he came here, I think, my sophomore year from Salina, and, he helped out with us and was a true motivator. And,
Is there any crazy stories anybody have about Coach Simmons?
I think we all had the same story.
we have the same story.
We all had the same story.
Different helmets.
Yeah.
Just head-butting different
Head-butting
people with helmets
A
on.
little blood on that. Yeah.
So there's one that I'll tell, and I've probably told you before, but we were in, I think he was a special teams coach or whatever, but we were over there back up against the right field wall. It was a chain link fence back then. And we were in practice, and he comes up and he starts talking to us about how low you got to get in football. You got to stay low. You got to be super low. You got to get as low as the earthworms. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he reached in his mouth and he pulled out an earthworm that was about 3 foot long. And we were like, oh my God, who is this guy?
that's crazy.
Yep.
And
But that's Coach Simmons.
yeah, Chase, did you have him in elementary? Did you?
did.
You did? Okay.
We're the Iron Division.
We were the Ace Division or
Really?
something like that. No, he was awesome in elementary, but he's, I think it was before Commerce last year, and we played a good game against Commerce last year, but he's pep talking to us, and he starts like, he's an old guy now, but he starts jumping around, and he just grabs Ethan Lopez's helmet and just starts banging it, and he's just screaming. It was awesome. It was the greatest thing ever. So
I mean, yeah, he was the soul and pride of how.
oh yes,
for sure.
When we were talking about that bulldog in the locker room or in the
Yes.
field house, I mean, every time I see that, I think
You
of
think of
Coach.
him.
I think of Coach Simmons.
Well, he was our strength coordinator back
Right.
then,
And that's
too.
the first one Howe ever had.
Oh, yeah. And he was doing kind of cutting-edge stuff at the time, starting with that bigger, faster, stronger
Yeah.
program. Like, we didn't lift weights back
Right.
then. And then he started that, and it was awesome in that. But actually, it was not in that. We got that at a later time. But it was awesome. He
Did you know Coach Fryer? He had to talk Coach Fryer into us doing squats. That Coach Fryer was not wanting us to do squats. He thought it was bad for us because it would get rid of our quickness and stuff. So Coach Simmons talked him into doing squats.
Well, that's amazing because later in my career, when I was around a junior or senior, Coach Fryer is the one that told me to always do squats to strengthen my knees because he knew my dad was always worried about my knees.
Okay.
So that's a funny story, and I haven't quit since.
Yeah, that's a Coach Simmons story. So
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
So that's Coach Fryer flipping it because my dad was always worried about my knees. He was like, you keep doing those squats, you'll be fine.
that's awesome.
Hey, so for everyone who's been a part of this, and including Chase Fountaine, Jay Skipworth, and Austin Haley, I'm Monte Walker. So long, everybody.